Hello and welcome to VNI Nation. My name is Titus, and as you can see, I am in a hotel, and that is because I'm on the road right now, and I am going to visit my family. So you're gonna have to deal with this hotel for now. But anyway, today I stopped by the movie theater because I had some extra time on my hands, and I went and saw the new Jumanji movie by myself. Because I do that sometimes, and boy, do I have some thoughts to say on the matter. Unfortunately, Alex couldn't make it here with us today. He's in some truck driving school in South Carolina, doing something.
I was doing what? I was unfortunately not here because of why?
Yeah, he's not here because he got punched in the face by his best friend.
Hello, and this is Via Die Nation, and yes, we are in the same space physically for once.
Shocker, I know.
I'm normally in a car, huh? If you don't believe me, look, I'm right here. Yeah, that's right. And I also have some thoughts about the Jumanji movie that he didn't go see alone. He's a liar. You can't trust him.
Okay. Yeah, so basically, the plot of this movie is exactly the same as the plot of the first movie.
Yep, it is. It's and one of the things is we recently did a video on how you're supposed to watch a movie. And as you know, we're both pretty avid moviegoers and we're our movie buddies. That's why when he was coming up to North Carolina, we decided that we should get together and maybe do some skits, do some other stuff. Go ahead and go see a movie and do a review where we're in the same room because we like to have a kind of conversational basis when we're doing it. That being said, if you remember from the movie, before the movie even starts, before we even get to the theater, we like to discuss what we expect out of the movie, what we're hoping for. That way, we can't just... It's basically a way to check ourselves because that way we can't say that we expected something and our expectations were fully met and we walk out going, that's a trash movie. Literally all your expectations were met, dude. And my expectations of the movie is I didn't want any gags to be overdone. I didn't want them to be repeated a million times. I wanted the plot to at least be somewhat different when it came to the actual storyline and the actual plot of the movie. I knew that there was obviously going to be some overlap because you can only do so much with video games and with the exact same character. But it fell short because it did exactly that. There was the same bad guy even who stole a gem, as the first movie did.
Yes.
There were 3 parts to the movie overall, level 1, 2, and 3. Level 2, if you could guess it, would probably be in a small village in the middle of nowhere. You would be right.
Shocker.
The bad guy confronts them there, almost like a different movie.
Almost like another movie I've seen.
Jumanji. Even down to the same characters fist fighting each other with the exact same result at the exact same point in the movie.
Yes, that did happen indeed. Yes. And while Alex over here was theorizing and giving his thoughts and expectations for the movie, I was driving.
Well, you had other expectations. Kind of just agreed with me.
Yeah. I definitely didn't want to see the exact same movie again. I wanted there to be something unique, some reason why they made a sequel to this movie, other than just to make money, which doesn't make any sense.
Well, and I mean, a big thing when it comes to sequels is the characters are the most important part. Period. I mean, if you're going to take, for instance, we'll take the Harry Potter series, which is an amazing movie series. But in all of those movie series, we see a progression of the characters growing.
Yes.
And there's actually character development, and the plot isn't the same recycled thing over and over. There are elements of that throughout the movies, but I mean, it's
it was based off of the book series.
Yeah, and there was enough difference in each one that it wasn't just repeating the exact same thing. And with that being said, Jumanji didn't do that. There was almost zero character development.
Yeah, they repeated the same jokes from the first movie,
Added some new ones,
and then repeated those.
and then beat that dead horse.
Yeah.
Straight into the ground. First 20 minutes of the movie. This is a video game? I was sitting there in the theater. I leaned over and I was like, if he says that
one more time,
I'm going to harm you.
And then she's trying to explain to these two old men, yes, you're in a video game for the first third of the movie, at least.
Yeah, and then even after that point, they still didn't understand anything.
Yeah, they didn't understand, video game mechanics. Basic, you have 3 lives. Don't waste them. Speaking about lives, at one point in the movie, so the entire movie, they were trying to lead towards everyone getting down to 1 life, because you start out with 3, right? And they were like, man, a lot of these guys still have a lot of lives left. How do we solve this? Blow them all up.
Yeah, bazookas do wonders for killing large groups of people. But also, it was the same as the first. There was this hodgepodge of modern day stuff in an old school type world. And I had a problem with that in the first movie, but it wasn't too crazy because it was believable. It was a jungle village that had guns. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
This one had a castle on a mountaintop with a fully sized Zeppelin. It had guns. It had a bazooka.
During one of the fight scenes, the backpack character just pulls out a boombox and starts playing music, and I'm like, why?
That's believable though, because in the first movie he had the boombox that was the exact same boombox from the first movie.
I thought that was set up beforehand. He didn't already have that.
He could have taken it. It could have been acquired by video game acquired.
Yeah. But that was in the first movie. It was set up, and then it just was conveniently located.
Yes. But there were also other parts of the movie, if we're going to move on to unexplainable parts of the movie, another really unexplainable part that was kind of explainable at first is in the city, they're supposed to be led to it ends up being the Jumanji tree. And there's the fruit of the Jumanji tree. But this tree is surrounded by this weird electric blue water. And first, because the game was broken, when they first came into the game, they were different characters than they normally were, except for a couple of them. And then they fall into this water, and they get back out, and as they touch hands, they switch bodies. To which they then re-switch back bodies on accident due to dumb reasons that should have never happened. But then later on in the movie, they're totally screwed. One of them's injured, one of them's a horse, Pegasus horse. I mean, whatever.
It's a horse that can magically sprout wings. Also, that's a spoiler, but don't watch the movie anyway, so I'm not spoiling anything.
And then they're like, we're all screwed because we have the worst character playing this character, the worst person to play this character. We need all of our original characters back. And suddenly,
here's a conveniently located giant pool of electric water with a waterfall.
And see, this is what I don't like about that, is at the beginning, it could have been explained. That's the Jumanji tree with the Jumanji fruit. It's the essence of the game. That could be explained why there's magic water around there that might cause you to switch bodies. And then they were told that with the Jumanji fruit to save it until the last minute when they needed it the most. So they could have explained why the water was electric by using the Jumanji berry to get it back into their proper bodies and save the day. But instead, the Jumanji berry was just a weakness. And in the first movie, we saw weaknesses as fatal.
Fatal.
You eat a piece of cake, you die.
Yes. Weaknesses in the first movie had serious consequences. In this movie, it just played off as a joke most of the time.
It was a gag most of the time.
Especially with the one character with the most weaknesses, heat, sand, and sun, right? And they were in the middle of a desert, and he didn't just immediately explode.
To which he should have if you went by the first video, like the first movie's logic. But we didn't see that, so that was really disappointing. 10 out of 10 would not go see again. If I had to give it on a scale of 1 to 10, probably like a 2 if I'm generous. It did have its funny moments.
Yeah, it did have its humor, but then it overplayed that humor as well.
It was not well put together by any means.
Yeah. 2 is definitely harsh, but it might be a 2. It's not like the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's also pretty bad.
Yeah, it's not the worst. There are other movies I would choose to not watch before that one.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go looking to watch that movie again either. It was a waste of money entirely.
I'd rewatch the first one.
The first one was good.
Yeah, the first one was good.
The second one was the same thing. Another thing that I talked
Also worse.
Yeah.
The second, it was the exact same, but also worse.
Well, another thing that I said is when we were going into the movie theater, I was like, man, I hope it's not one of those movies where the two lovebirds break up and through extraneous circumstances get back together.
Like, because of the game or something.
Yeah, because of the game or something.
Like,
and he's like, yeah, no, I know what you mean. I agree totally. And guess what happens? The two main lovebirds...
They're broken up at the start of the movie because they had zero character development, and this guy is still insecure about his existence.
And they just get back
together.
And they have this conversation while hanging on to 2 ice picks on the side of a 0-degree cliff. Because that's the time to have a conversation. And then, while in the enemy stronghold, they just start making out, because that's cool. That's what we do. That's what you do when you're in the middle of a super stressful rescue mission. You just start making out with the hot redhead. I mean, I would. But...
I mean, yeah. If I was put in that situation, I would kiss Karen Gillan too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, she's very pretty. But then, they're all in this game because of Spencer's dumb decisions. He chose to go back into the game. And you know what? If they hadn't followed him, he probably would have finished it in the second stage with a character he wasn't familiar with. But instead, they all chose to follow him. So they're all in this situation because of Spencer. And then they all are just like, oh yeah, no man, it's cool. That was a fun time. You just risked my entire life and existence for the fact that you just didn't feel good about yourself. That's cool. If I had been Fridge, I would have just killed him. I would have knocked him out at least. When we came back out of the game, I would have been like, man, that was close. Hey, Spencer, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. Shut up. I'm taking this with me. I'm going to burn this. I'm going to melt it down and turn it into scrap metal. It was so bad. They all just acted like it wasn't his entire fault.
Yeah, and then they just left the game console, in his basement and didn't do anything with it. And then, at the end of the movie, they set up for a third movie.
One sec. I want to predict on camera if, and I mean if, because this is a bad movie. I don't know if they're going to get renewed for a third. But I want to take a gander at what the third movie will be.
All right. Shoot. I'm ready for it. Okay. Let's hear it.
So, well, obviously, there's a new person, right? And then the mom is also there.
And the mom, yeah.
So then... they're going to go...
those two are getting together, definitely.
The 4 are going to be like, where's mom? Where's mom? They're going to go down there, and they're going to be like, oh, no. Because they're going to see the handyman bag down there, too, and they'll be like, oh, no, this isn't good. And so they're all going to go back into the game.
I think I'm catching feelings.
They're going to go back into the game, and they're going to be all like the right character this time, maybe. Yeah. Or maybe they'll just jump into a pool. Who knows? Anyways... The NPCs would be like, thank goodness you're here, Mr. Bravestone. We need you to come save us. And they're going to be like,
the bad guy stole a gem.
The bad guy. So we've had a gym in the desert, and now we've had a gym in the mountains. So now the next gym is going to be the sky gym. I don't know how they're going to play that, but I guarantee you it's going to be done. And the same bad guy who supposedly fell to his insanely long death.
Or maybe it's the water gym.
The water gym.
The water gym.
And maybe if you get them all together, you create the avatar. I'm sorry.
And then the Fire Nation attacked.
But no, for real, it's not worth watching. It really is just the exact same thing, just a couple of years later. And you would think that with a couple of years, they're all in college, they'd be a little bit more responsible, or they would be a little bit more conscientious, or any of those things. Some form of character development. And I mean, they were in school.
I think, as far as character development goes, Bethany was the best.
She had the most character development before.
She had the most character development.
She was super shallow and all this other stuff, and now she's doing charity work around the world.
Yeah, and like in the first movie, she was kind of like the dumb blonde character, and she actually made some like responsible decisions in this movie.
Yeah, that were relatively smart. Maybe not like some of them were smart, some of them were just dumb, but even though they were dumb, they were also responsible and brave. So she definitely had the most growth as a character. But from the other characters, like they went to school together. If the couple, if Spencer and what's her name got together, and they were in high school together for like we'll say a couple years. I think it was like their junior year when they went into the game.
They were either sophomore or freshman.
Okay, so they're like brand new. You would think that if you were that passionate about each other, you would have gone to the same college, or at least the same city.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where was any character growth? It was essentially the same high school relationship that we saw in the first movie, and it was the exact same build-up to that relationship.
Yeah, they even had the exact same conversation in-game that they had in the first movie.
In the same kind of stupid, stressful situation that is not the time to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And it was just bad. It was
just overdone. Can we talk about the old guys in this movie?
The old guys. Danny DeVito.
Oh, boy.
Danny DeVito and another guy. I've seen him in other movies. I can't exactly place where he is. But they're real old dudes.
Yeah.
And they got this beef. Kind of like Spencer and Fridge had in the first movie. And then they ended up friends at the end because they find out that the black guy has terminal illness. And instead of going back to the real world, he's going to go live his life as a flying horse. Which makes zero sense.
You don't want to be My Little Pony?
My Little Pony.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
I don't know any more than that.
But anyway, I mean, if he was terminal and he was going to die in a couple months, that made sense.
Yeah. And their kind of like relationship was just confusing.
Yeah, did they hate each other?
Like, I understand that they were like best friends for like their entire lives until the old guy, like the we'll call him the black guy, the one that's not Danny DeVito. He sold their business because he was like, it's time to retire. I'm done. But Danny DeVito was like, I'm not done. Like, and then they broke up and like they hated each other for a few years.
Speaking of which, I sold the copyright claims to V&I Nation.
You did what?
I thought it was time to retire. See, you think you've been in business with somebody for so long that you would be able to talk about these things. We've only been doing this channel for like a few months, and if I were to make a decision about the business that we have created, the channel that we have created, I wouldn't just go, hey, by the way, man, I dissolved V&I Nation, sold the domain name, and I'm retiring, so deuces, man, have fun with your life. I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, hey, man, I don't know if I want to continue working in this direction. I think I'm going to pursue other avenues. You're welcome to continue using the name, or we could sell it and both make a profit. It's really up to you. Because at that point, it would be his business if I decided to just quit for no reason. Yeah.
I use that logo for everything, too.
Yeah.
So that's like my brand.
Okay, whatever. Okay, boomer.
Okay.
Okay, boomer.
Whatever.
No, but really, I have to agree. It was like they'd owned a restaurant for 30 plus years together, and they couldn't have a conversation about what to do with the business.
They couldn't just like sit down and like talk about what to do with the business.
And then at the very end, Danny DeVito's old character guy goes into the restaurant that was sold, and the owner of the store that bought the store is flirting with him, talking about how she needs help. So they literally could have like avoided all of this debacle if she had come on as the black guy retired.
Mhm.
Literally would have been that simple. And nothing bad would have happened. Everybody'd still be friends. You think adults would have some level of maturity. Now, I get that some things get lost in translation. And some things happen, like if I slept with your girlfriend or you slept with my wife, provided you survive, we would definitely no longer be on talking terms.
Definitely, yes.
Yes. But there wasn't anything that drastic.
Yeah, it seemed completely unnecessary. Their relationship, like their story, wasn't really necessary for the movie. But granted, without that, this movie didn't really have anything.
That is true. I'll give you that. With that being said, though, we have way run over our time, so that's going to be some editing on one end. But with that being said, if you agree with us, I'm sorry that you watched the movie, and if you disagree with us, please tell me why. And if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button and share these videos with your friends. We don't ever really say that part because we just hope you're sharing it without us having to tell you. But hey, finger guns,
Hey.
pew pew pew.
You
Go
know,
ahead and send it.
Hook us up, Hey, how's it going?
If somebody's like, "Hey, what do you like to do?" Man, I love to watch this YouTube channel.
To watch this.
It's
YouTube
so
channel.
good.
It's so good. It's like the best YouTube channel of all time.
And yes, we are asking you to lie for us.
If that wasn't abundantly clear.
So please hit that. All that other stuff I already said. This has been Veritas et Eudicium. Thank you. Oh, you're not going to do it. And goodbye.
Peace.